So in this video, I wanted to talk about the best gel pens of 2021. Gel pens have really been popular over the past couple of years, and they seem to keep growing in popularity, mostly at the expense of the rollerball, which is still a good type of pen, but it's really not as popular as it once was. I think gel pens have really started to displace those. A lot of that has been due to this pen. This is the Pilot G2. It's probably the most popular gel pen in people's minds. I don't know if it's the best seller across the industry, but it was the first gel pen that I think really a lot of people started to use, and they said, oh yeah, that's different than what I've been using. That's a great pen. I want more of that. So I think this is a great pen. I think it's one of the best gel pens, but really I wanted to focus on these ones back here and really highlight some of the best gel pens out there for people. We'll start off with the Pentel Energel line. I think these are really exceptional and they're worth noting. This is the Pentel Energel X. Oh, and I should say that every one of these pens I've talked about on this channel before. So if you want more in-depth, search through the channel and you could read a review or watch a review about it or check it out on Unsharpen.com. Okay, so the Pentel Energel X. This is just a nice body, retractable. It has a nice click to it. The thing that's important here is that Pentel Energel ink is quite good, and you could buy this in a bunch of different pen types, you know, retractable, capped, permanent, what have you, but Energel gel ink is just excellent across the board. It's quick drying and really nice, really vibrant. So anything with an Energel in it is going to be pretty good. My favorite of the Energel line is the Energel Infree. That's this clear body. It has a body similar to this X, and it comes in some really cool colors like this orange. It has a needle tip, that's that skinny tip, and these are just great writers. The ink is any different than any Energel. It's a standard Energel ink, but my favorite bodies are this Infree. So if you're looking for a great gel pen, this is a great way to go. Next up, I really like the Sarasa line from Zebra. So Zebra has many great pens. We talked about them on the channel all the time. The Sarasa is their gel series, and the Sarasa comes in a bunch of different pens. This is the Sarasa Clip. This is the basic Sarasa, the most affordable, and it's available in most colors, commonly sold in a 0.4 and a 0.5 millimeter writing tip. Sarasa Clip is fine, great ink, and definitely I recommend it. But similar to the Pentel, where there's some okay models and some exceptional models, I would really highly recommend the Sarasa Dry. This is the quick drying ink in the Sarasa line. And if you're left-handed and you want a quick drying gel ink, obviously you should try out the Energel. The other way to go, and what I tend to use, probably my favorite overall, is the Sarasa Dry. This is the Japanese model, has this cool clip here, really stylized design, sold in 0.4 and 0.5 millimeter writing tips. It's the same exact pen as this one. This is the Zebra Sarasa SE. This is just the US model. The design is a little different, has the metal clip, no spring, this kind of sneaker grip, but this is a really great way to go, and it's probably easier to find in the US. Moving over, we have Sakura makes some really good gel pens. This is the company that pioneered the gel pen in the 1980s. So I felt like I would be remiss not to call out some of their pens. I think they're most known for their jelly roll pens, but if you want to do day-to-day writing, their BallSign line is pretty good. I don't think it's really in keeping with the quality of the rest, but I can't really fault them. And if you're looking for an art style gel pen, then I think Sakura is really the way to go. Again, either in the BallSign or the jelly roll series. As far as gel pens go, Uni-ball has really stood out with the 207 line. The 207 is an older model. Now it's either the 207 Plus or the 307. And those pens use the same ink. It's a better ink than was original in the 207. It's more resistant to different water and acid and things like that. And it is a little bit quicker drying. So if you're looking for a great gel pen, the 207 Plus or the 307 are both really nice. I really like the grip on these. They've had the same design for a long time, and I've really become accustomed to it. It's sold in like a 0.38, 0.5, 0.7, and 1.0 millimeter, and just a nice retractable pen with a great ink. But again, look for the 207 Plus or the 307. 307 is basically the same pen, but has a matching black clip and I think a faux carbon body or something like that. But again, really solid pens, and I definitely wouldn't fault people for really liking these. Pilot, again, is very closely associated with their high-quality gel pens, and there's a lot to choose from, so I wanted to run through them really quick. There's obviously the standard G2, which we talked about before. This one is fine. A lot of people really like it. I really like it. I don't think it stands out among the best, and it isn't as good as the Sarasa or the Energel. But again, it's high quality and it's been around for a long, long time, so I know people are very accustomed to it. The Juice model is an older model, and it's sort of in line with the G2 gel. So I think a lot of people try this out, and I wouldn't recommend this one. It doesn't make the cut, but it's still very popular. And it's better in some smaller sizes like the 0.38 than the 1.0. But it's an okay gel pen from Pilot. But it's often confused with the better gel pen from Pilot called the Juice Up. And this one has a more modern ink, and it has you can see it has moved over to a needle tip, which is quite nice if you're looking for that. It has a more stylized design. It's quite cool looking, very modern, and it's just a really great pen overall. So if you're looking for a good Pilot gel pen, then the Juice Up is probably my favorite from Pilot these days. Pilot also makes this. This is called the Hi-Tec-C. This is probably, I would say, the best looking pen that Pilot makes. These are really, really nice. They're sold in a wide variety of writing tips from 0.25 millimeters up to I think 0.5 is the biggest. They don't do anything bigger than that. But they have 0.25, 0.38, 0.4, 0.5. Sold in some confusing types like the G-Tech-C4. That's like the European model. But the Hi-Tec-C is the standard model. And this is just a great classic gel pen with a very cool old school aesthetic. I've written with many, many of these and highly recommend them. Probably the last standout in gel pens, I would say, is the Sharpie S-Gel. This pen has really gotten popular over the past year or two. And at first it seemed like a pretty unexceptional gel pen, but having used them for, I guess, maybe the last 18 months, however long they've been out, I think they've gained a lot in popularity, and they aren't at the level of an Energel or a Sarasa, but it's worth noting that these things have really gained a foothold, and people seem to really like them. And Sharpie has generally done a pretty good job with their gel pens. So again, not one of my favorites, but definitely up there in the high quality gel pens of 2021. Okay, so now let's run through some writing samples for the best ofs, and for that would be the G2, the Hi-Tec-C, the Juice Up, the 207 Plus, the Sarasa Dry, and that Infree. I think these are, when I think of exceptional gel pens, these are the ones that really come to mind. So first up, we have the Juice Up. This is just a nice, thin pen. This is in a blue-black. Good coloring, very consistent. And even though that writing tip is quite small, 0.4 millimeters, it's not scratchy. And the ink has no problem keeping up with it. So this is the Juice Up. Just a nice pen. Pilot has done a really good job with these. Quick drying, no problem with that. This is the Hi-Tec-C. Again, great looking pen. And in the 0.5 and 0.4 millimeter, it will be nice and smooth. If you go down below that to 0.38 or 0.25 millimeter, it'll get quite scratchy. But as long as you're writing nice and vertically, it'll be pretty good. This is the Hi-Tec-C. I really like these. Just have used these for a long, long time. I think the model's probably been around for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, who knows. But just a really nice pen. Very high quality writing instrument. This is the 207 Plus. It has that modern gel ink that Uni-ball or Uni-Mitsubishi, whatever you want to call them, has upgraded over the years. It's the same ink found in the 307. So this is the replacement to their very popular 207. This is the Plus. Now we're getting into a different level of smoothness. To be fair, this is a 0.7 millimeter, so of course it is smoother than a 0.5 or a 0.4, but these ones are quite smooth, and now you're moving to generally, I would say, like a looser feeling, wetter ink in these 207s. By the time you get to the 0.7 or the 1.0 millimeter, you have a really smooth rollerball type experience. See a lightening of the blue, but the color still really, really pops. So if you want a more vibrant blue, this 207 I think is a nice way to go. Definitely versus that more of a classic navy from the Hi-Tec-C. Now we're over to the Sarasa Dry in 0.5 millimeter. This one's also very popular in the 0.4 millimeter. Now we're getting into sort of like, I would say, if you had to say which are the two best, you have the Pentel and the Sarasa Dry. These are where things are really exceptional, especially for me as someone who's left-handed. These are very quick drying and nice and smooth, very reliable performance. I think a lot of gel pens kind of a bad reputation for drying out prematurely. I would say I've seen less of that with the Sarasa and the Energel, and definitely more of that with the Sharpie. I've seen many complaints about the Sharpies showing up dry. I haven't had it happen, but I've seen enough complaints that it makes me think that something is up there maybe. Sarasa Dry, again, super quick drying, nice and smooth, very fun to write with, very consistent. It's just a sort of like the gel pen that you keep buying over and over again, especially with these nice aesthetics. I think it's just a cool looking pen. You know, nothing wrong with the SE. I think this has its own sort of appeal, but for me, the Dry is the better looking pen, and both of them obviously have the same ink, so they write quite nicely. Lastly, we have the Pentel Energel Infree. Has that Energel ink, and the Infree just changes it over to a clear body, this sort of like gray grip, a nice metal clip, and I don't know, it just makes it like that much cooler looking. Infree is available in some slightly like differentiated colors, like this orange. There's a blue-green, I think, and basically they use non-standard colors, but you can get it in a black. And it's that same great Energel ink, but in some color variants. Just, you see really nice color variety there. Very quick drying, no problems there. So it's great for a lefty, similar to that Sarasa Dry, and you get that really nice pop of color that you'd expect from a gel ink. So I think that pretty much covers it. There's so many gel pens. I think it's a little bit confusing what you're getting when you're making the purchase. So if you shop around or do some research, hopefully this video has helped you make your selection. But generally speaking, anything from a high quality manufacturer is going to be fine, but you'll get something exceptional with the Pentels and the Sarasas. So I think that pretty much covers it. Thanks for watching.